accept it. Are you?
Yes, I mean, are you sure? To say this.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
Yes. Now, what I'm saying to you is, okay, if you take the word science and apply it the way it ought to be applied in the context of knowledge, yes,
the knowledge.
today you will accept the Quran from me. You see, you've got irrational again.
I have been irrational.
Yeah, and you are accepting it as well.
Please explain to me what's giving me a Quran.
I just,
I've already got it.
no. I told you. Then we have already agreed going through the process of reason just now. Is there a possibility? You said yes. And this time you took the courageous step. You took a blind leap of faith. Okay. Right. Excellent. So you got caveats as well. Yeah.
The prior question the possibility, but there is also
I'll tell you something.
I want to examine that.
I'll give you an opinion. Probably there. Trust me, there is nothing you can verify in accepting there is a creator. Don't be afraid. And I will tell you what. I'm telling you, if the Quran is telling you something, it is entirely your decision whether you are going to accept it or not, on an evidential footing. Now, if I am offering you access to knowledge, additional knowledge, in the context of the word science, yes, you should readily accept it. If I can just finish, you should readily accept it. Equally, I am more than ready to accept the possibility of someone coming to me and establishing for me incontrovertibly that the theory of evolution is the way it is being understood. As an example, if I were to tell you, okay, what we call intermediate species, okay, are present. The paleontologists study them. They will study the elbow, joint, to the femur. They will do that. But I would ask the question, we are told that there are very small changes that take place. Yes. However, in terms of ancestry, we are told that there was at a point where convergence took place. I was discussing it with some other person. You see that? Yes. And I asked, okay, is there any evidence pointing us to this particular point? Yes. Yes. Is there? The answer is no. What's inferred? It is inferred. Now, you know the word inference. Yes. Yeah, in the context of everything we understand, what do we mean when we say inference?
There's no deductive,
there's no direct evidence.
There's no direct evidence.
There's no direct evidence. There isn't. There isn't, okay? Now, when you talk about direct evidence, okay, this particular aspect, based on inference, okay, is reasonable, isn't it? Because you are looking at additional evidence which leads you towards this possibility.
In a process which is very tightly defined, yes.
Right, when you say it's tightly defined,
science.
Tell me how tightly it is defined in establishing whether there was a point of convergence. So how do you know that those rules are actually valid?
Because I have previously established in our conversation that I've got a justifiable true belief in the centre or is valid or is reasonably valid.
Now Bruce, you are going to have to start telling me your blind belief. Because up to now, that is all you have relied on. Every time we have come to a point where there is something logical and reasonable which we can both accept, the moment the question was asked, you relied on the very blind position you've had so far in terms of the authority of your peers.
Just the history of science today.
Yeah, exactly. But here is the point I'm making. Where there is a point which cannot be considered, we draw inferences. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's reasonable to draw inferences, but the inferences have to be reasonable. Yes. Are you following that? Okay. So if there is no direct evidence for something, you can draw inferences to establish a fact. There is a possibility that going down the line, yes, there is a possibility that going down the line, you may come across some piece of evidence which will directly contradict what you consider to be a fact. That's reasonable, isn't it?
I can't honestly say right now it's reasonable or not because my mind's getting a little bit confused.
Shall we stop and go for part 3?
Should we go for part 3 after Ramadan?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that okay? But before you go, will you today finally accept my gift?
Okay. Please, if you could explain to me what the significance of this gift to you is.
It's not significant to me, it is significant to you. Because what I am actually asking you to do is now to consider knowledge in its entirety rather than restricting it to what you call the scientific method only. I have, like I've told you before, I have no issue with the scientific method because, as I said to you, I find it in the Quran, and that came over 1400 years ago. Okay, I have no issue. In fact, like I said, the Quran is consistently telling the Muslim or the human being that look, go through the process of discovery, experimentation, observation, whatever you want to call it.
I understand that for you it's a perfectly consistent picture. The main perfectly consistent picture is there is no God.
No problem. But what has that got to do with you actually accessing information that may possibly...
What I want to agree to do, is examine my own in my own particular way. Okay. Questions for you about the way I can do that.
No problem. No problem.
That's what I'm hoping that
Yeah, of course.
someday or another, that question about evolution just spent
No. I'll tell you why. In all honesty, Bruce, if I come, let's say for 5 minutes, let's do it, okay? What is it that you can offer to me for me to accept the theory of evolution to be correct? The way we understand it.
The way we understand it has a couple of things.
A complete explanation. And the only thing I said to you is, okay, if you are going to say that it's a complete explanation, you are going to be able to tell me how it started.
Especially for
No. Wait, answer my question. A complete explanation according to what you just said. So if I tell you, right, let's go back to the start. How did it start? There you are. Now, I can go further with this, okay, and I can go into the details of the skeletal elements.
For scientists to say, or science advocates to say, I don't know, there's no evolution.
It's not that. I'm not saying that. I'm really saying if we don't know, how can we discuss it reasonably?
Discuss it reasonably?
We can't. What we will do is merely throw things to satisfy each other, speculative or otherwise, but that doesn't lead to understanding, does it?
No, the ancient Greeks did do that, and they did come up with some answers.
Yes, I agree with you. The ancient Greeks, but the difference between the ancient Greeks and us is this, that we are in a position to be able to turn and say, you know, we have got thousands and thousands of pages, of information which we can access to establish whether this theory has validity in the way it is understood.
Yes, well, it's consistent.
Well, if we are ignorant of those facts, how are we going to have a reasonable discussion?
Right. Sorry. He supposes that there is a God who is witnessing evolution. So this can never accept anything of revelation, stories of the prophets, interpretations of the prophets.
You see,
any other evidence of anything of revelation.
I accept what your view is. What I am suggesting to you is that your view is not consistent with being logical and reasonable. And I qualified it by saying to you, look, Bruce, if, for example, I tell you, me and you are going in a car, and we come across traffic lights, it's red, and I convince you to go through them. Yes? While they are red. According to our understanding, we know what would happen if there's a police car hanging around and he sees us go through red. What will happen? He will stop us and say, excuse me, what did you just do? Yeah? When he asks us, did you realize you just went through red? And we tell him, no, you got it wrong. Yes? That's not red. That's blue. Yeah? This is, no, that's red. No, it isn't. It's blue. And I can scientifically prove to you it is blue. Follow my reasoning. I can, what did you just say? You cannot prove a color, so how can he prove it's red? How can he prove it's red?
that it's read, can you prove that it's read by convention and all other people agree with it?
Excellent, by convention. You see, here is what you are saying to me and I'm saying to you. Your convention is telling you, despite reason telling you something else, your convention is telling you, I'm not going to consider any possibility of, if I can just say this, of any information that may even remotely lead to the idea of a creator. Who is being illogical?
I'm being stubborn, but I'm not being illogical.
At least you are making half the admission. I don't mind.
I'm almost
And I'm glad you do. You are honest. You are honest with me. And I appreciate that.
Sometimes you may miss this one.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, the scientific method that we understand today, yes, I already told you, over 1400 years ago was in the Quran. Now I'm saying
So you say.
now that is brilliant. I'm telling you, look, don't take it from me. Consider the evidence itself. So today will you accept a gift? And trust me, it is packed. So I haven't interfered with it. Still no. Okay.
So I understand what it's doing. Sorry to be stubborn.
No.
I'm just a bit.
But here is what I would suggest we do.
My life has taught me to be wary.
Absolutely, and I understand. But here is what I would suggest we do. God willing, after Ramadan, when I'm back, you will put up a video so you go and do the reading in relation to the Quran and also the theory of evolution. And God willing, when we come back, we will deal with the details and see whether there's any validity to it or not. How is that?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Is that okay?
I'll try and do that.
It's a pleasure seeing you again.
Yes.
And I hope to see you after, and we can discuss both evolution and this problem about the Quran and the information.
Hello, sir. How are you?
What's the problem? Is that right? No problem at all. God bless you. Look after yourself.
Evolution is in trouble from who? Which one?
I guess from him.
Evolution
Sorry,
is in
can I
trouble from him.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I guess he
Thank you. Are you alright? Yeah, I know.
got